Hi, my name is Daniel. Why did you click on this video? I hope you clicked on this video to understand what tech has been incredibly valuable to me and useful to me over the last 2 to 3 years, especially considering the price. So let's get right into it and talk about the tech that has been the bedrock of my daily living for the last 2 to 3 years. Maybe this video will give you a better idea of what brands are more trustworthy compared to others. Number one on this list has to be this Mi power bank. Now I forgot the name of the power bank, but it looks like this, and there's only one on Mi's catalog. Now, Mi or Mi is basically Xiaomi's like gadget making brand that makes things other than phones. It's a Chinese company. This one has lasted for the last 2.5 years. I've never had an instance where I've thought, geez, I wish this had more battery. I've been using it with multiple devices connected to it. So my watch, while charging my phone, while charging some camera, and it's been absolutely fine. It's got 10,000 milliamp hours of battery life, and there's never been a time when I've thought I wish this thing had more battery. In fact, if you just charge like a smartwatch with it, it'll last for a few weeks. It's really good, and I'd highly recommend checking it out, especially if you've never bought a power bank before. A lot of the time, Portronics power banks, Portronics, the brand, seem to show up in search results, especially for the lower price ranges and the high charging speed ranges. However, I would avoid them. I've bought one, it stopped working. I replaced it, that one also stopped working. I would avoid Portronics. Mi seems like the trustworthy brand here. The next one is these Realme Buds Air 7s. These are earbuds. Now, I've only been using these for 5 weeks, not really years. However, they have performed absolutely stellar. They've never let me down. Their battery life is at least 50-55 hours or something without noise cancelling. If you use noise cancelling, however, it reduces to just 40 hours of battery life. It's enough battery life that you're never worried about running out of battery. I've used these at loud volume for like 2 hours, 3 hours in one go, and then I listen to something at night, and then the next day I listen to music, and then I listen to something loudly again, and you can just keep going, and these will not let you down. If the case's battery is low, it will flash red, in which case you can charge it in, and you can top it up in like an hour or an hour and a half or something like that. It's really good buds. They've also got noise cancelling, which goes up to 50 decibels. But specs are one thing. I can tell you for a fact that I've used this in the mall, I've used this in a metro, I've used this in a bathroom with an exhaust fan, and the noise cancelling is top notch. Sometimes it gives me a bit of a headache, but I feel like that's just me. These have really good noise cancelling. It can really help you zone into your music, and the sound quality is top notch. Now, there is an app where you can control the equalizer. In addition, there are options to enable automatic equalizer control based on what you're listening to. You can even change the level of bass, and it's genuinely good bass. It's not like one of those boosted ones that's super cheap. It sounds really good. But one of the most useful features on these buds is the dynamic noise cancellation. You can put these on outside, and they'll use mild noise cancellation. However, if you enter a mall and super loud, they will automatically increase the level of noise cancellation to match that. And so you don't even have to think about the level of noise cancelling you choose. It can automatically do that for you if you enable that. It's also got spatial audio mode, which I can tell you genuinely sounds like you're standing in a big concert hall. It's really good. I don't even use it because it sounds so good. I don't want to get used to it. It's that good. It's got, it can connect to 2 devices at once. It's also got a low latency gaming mode. Basically, if you watch a video with this, it won't lag, and you won't notice any kind of delay between words being spoken and what you hear. So it's got a really good low latency mode, much better than that of say the Xiaomi Buds 6 or Buds 6 Pro or something like that. So before you splurge 20,000 rupees on those Sony Buds, those fancy ones, Consider these for around 3,000 rupees. They're really good in pretty much every way. I don't know why more people aren't buying these and talking about these. 3,000 rupees, pretty solid spend. However, if that's too much, the Oppo Enco Buds 2 are great value for around 1,700 bucks. I lost the case. I have the buds here though. These are the Oppo Enco Buds 2s. I use them for pretty much a year. I use them in the shower, in the rain, while running, while exercising, while jumping up and down and doing jumping jacks. I basically use them and just forget they were in my ear. They're really good buds. They don't have noise cancelling, but if you use these, you'll realize you don't really need noise cancelling that much because the rubber tip blocks out noise pretty well on these. The sound quality is so good that I've never had to think about sound quality. So for around 1,700, 1,500 rupees, these are really good buds. You just need to buy them in the right, website. Moving on to what I think is such an important piece of tech for me. This, the Huawei Watch GT4. Now, all things being said, this is last year's model. This is like the entry level proper smartwatch kind of thing. Now you can buy the GT5, but the GT4 I got it for around 13,000 rupees, which is much cheaper than the starting price of 20,000 rupees. Now you might think that's a lot of money for a smartwatch compared to say Boat or Noise Electronics, and that's because my Boat watch and my Noise Fit watch and my Firebolt watch all failed over the course of almost a year, and I just had enough of it and they all just stopped working properly. They were unreliable, and so I decided, okay, invest in a proper smartwatch. And so my dad gave me a budget, and this is way below my budget. It's got a battery life of 2 weeks if you don't use the always on display, but if you use the always on display, it's 7 days of battery life, which is 7 times better than pretty much any Apple Watch. It's also a quarter of the price of the base Apple Watch. It's made of metal, it's very high quality, and the vibration motor is really good. Like, it really feels super high-end to use and hold. It feels really high-end, this thing. I can't make that clear on camera, but the strap that it comes with is also really like high quality silicone. Like, you can tell this is a proper smartwatch. Not to mention, it is hexagonal in shape, so it looks like a proper watch. I could totally see you wearing this to an event because it's not a rectangle. It doesn't look like a device. It's also really accurate. I think there's a channel where he tests like the scientific accuracy of smartwatches.
And that zoomed in view is displayed right here with just the watches of a correlation of 0.9 or higher, so just the best performing watches. And as you can see, even amongst the best performing watches, the Huawei Watch GT4 is still amongst the better performing watches.
That was one of my biggest selling points for this watch. Firebolt, Noise, Fast Track, whatever, none of them will be accurate. This one is very close to the accuracy level of the Apple Watch, and I would highly recommend checking this out on Flipkart or something before you either splurge on an Apple Watch or cheap out on a Noise or Firebolt. To people watching this video who are planning to buy like a Noise Fit watch or a Firebolt watch, I've used all those watches, Boat, Noise, Firebolt, and over the course of a year, all three of them just failed. Like, the Boat one just stopped connecting to the app. The Firebolt one would show my heart rate being 0 while I was running, which, like, bro, come on. And the Noise Fit watch, I made a whole video about that. You can check it out on my Camera Dude channel. I could not recommend Huawei watches enough. Now for the tech that has not lasted very long. This is a GoPro Hero 9. Now, if you look up the price of a GoPro, these things are not cheap. My uncle gifted this to me. It's a really good action camera when it works. However, this one just stopped turning on. We bought new batteries. We did all sorts of resets. Pretty much every trick on YouTube I had tried on this multiple times with no success. It just stopped working. So basically it's just scrap metal at this point. We contacted GoPro, however there wasn't much they could do, so it is disappointing. So instead of that one, I use the Hero 13 to film shots of, say, my phone. It was, again, a very kind gift from my uncle. But I've seen lots of videos on YouTube talking about GoPro's current downfall. Now, speaking for this camera, it's excellent, it's lasted, it's absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with it. However, experts in action cameras on YouTube seem to be recommending DJI over GoPro. Alright, now for the next item of tech. Actually, it's right in front of me. My phone. Okay, just gonna keep this down there so I can review my phone. Right, so this is the Xiaomi 14T Pro. It is a smartphone whose value proposition for the price is hard to put into words. Unfortunately though, there's no point in me telling you this because you literally cannot get this from India. It's just very hard, and if you find it like in India to buy, it's usually ridiculously overpriced and you probably shouldn't go for it. I got this for the equivalent of 45,000 Indian rupees. My uncle bought it in Dubai and gave it to me at home. I'd like to thank him very much because this is a phone that genuinely makes you wonder why people go and splurge on those high-end phones. Let me give you some context. You get a higher than 1080p resolution display, that's 120 Hz, up to 144 Hz. It's super bright, you can use it outdoors, and if you put it in sunlight mode, you can use it even brighter. It's an all-round good phone. It's got 5,000 milliamp hours of battery life, and it comes with Xiaomi's 120 watt hypercharger. It can charge from, in my experience, 20 to 80% in like 5 minutes. It's got a fast charging mode and a standard charging mode. The standard charging mode itself is so fast that I wouldn't even need the fast charging mode. So excellent phone. So again, 5,000 milliamp hour batteries. However, in day-to-day use, this phone is here and there depending on how much you use it and what you use it for. The camera is the battery culprit, so be careful about that. But if you use it on a day-to-day basis, just Google, YouTube, you name it, you should get to the end of the day with around 35 to 20% left, which again is a huge margin difference, but I mean, it really depends on your use case here. I just maybe open LinkedIn, mostly just WhatsApp and the camera. That's pretty much it. I don't have much screen time. However, speaking of cameras, this thing has got a pretty good set of cameras. Like I'm genuinely amazed. Now, they say that they've collaborated with the camera brand Leica and all that stuff. What I can tell you is that it's excellent. It's got up to 8K video. It can shoot 4K 60 FPS video. You can even shoot 4K video with the front camera at up to 30 frames per second. You can get granular control over the camera features using their Pro mode, where basically you have all these Pro controls. You have a ton of options. There's night mode, there's astrophotography, there is long exposure photography, all that jazz. And the best part, Leica's filters. There are inbuilt filters in the camera app that are so good to use. They will probably multiply how quickly your storage fills up. I'm not even kidding. Like, this thing's filters are so good that up till I got this phone, I've never used a filter before. But Leica has put genuine effort into these. They're not just your Instagram filters, they're really good. Like, they genuinely change the whole mood of a photo. The portrait mode on this is top notch. Like, you can shoot great, foreground background separation. It's so good that my mom, despite having a Samsung S23, S24 Ultra something, she asks me to take photos at events. 45,000 bucks for the 512 GB variant and 12 gigs of RAM. So if you look at this and then you look at the base iPhone 16, you're paying twice the money for half the RAM and half the storage. It just makes too much sense. And oh, don't even mention the iPhone 16e. That thing, even reviewers on YouTube are calling it a waste of money unless you genuinely head over heels in love with the Apple brand. My point is, compared to Apple and Samsung's models, this offers great value for money. and I couldn't recommend it enough. However, you can't buy this. What you can buy though in India is the Xiaomi 15 series. Those started around 59,000 rupees, so it's fairly more expensive than this. However, the specs are excellent and they genuinely make OnePlus devices a little bit weak in the knees. I've reviewed everything here. I could tell you about my laptop. Actually, maybe I should. In short, this is the Asus ZenBook 14 OLED. And again, thanks to my uncle for gifting this to me. It's a wonderful laptop when it works. However, it has had some serious issues in my ownership. 3 months after getting it, the trackpad just stopped working properly. It started randomly clicking on things, and so I stopped using the trackpad and started using a mouse instead. And then for a year, more than a year, I think 2 years, I just used a mouse to use this laptop because the trackpad was unusable. But because of Asus's warranty plan, I was able to get the trackpad replaced. It took some time because I needed it for work. I couldn't just give it to them for 3 days. Many years after the trackpad failed, I finally got the entire keyboard, this whole thing is replaced for free. So half the laptop is replaced for free, which is just crazy. The screen is amazing. You couldn't ask for more from a screen. You can never see pixels. I've never seen pixels. It's super bright. You can even use this outdoors. The battery life, however, is not great, so I usually use it plugged in. I use it for editing. However, the fan goes crazy and it gets really hot and it's made of metal, and so I wouldn't recommend buying this if you're into video editing and such. But as a work laptop, it's very premium, it's very nice. However, you should probably look at the VivoBook 15 or VivoBook 14 series. Those are half the price. They're not made of metal, but they offer excellent screens and processor value for the money. Alright, so that's my tech. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next show. Take care.